Tony Watson here with Robert Hall & Associates, talking today about deadlines. Remember that December 31st is the calendar year end for most individual taxpayers. January 15th happens to be the end of the fourth quarter. April 15th is the most commonly known deadline, and that is the individual tax return 1040 filing deadline. Now remember that this is only a filing deadline. It is not a deadline to pay your tax. When do you think is the deadline to pay your tax, or when do you think it is, or how often have you thought that April 15th is the deadline to pay your taxes? Well, remember that April 15th is just a filing deadline. January 15th is actually the deadline to pay your income tax, either 90% of the prior year liability or 110% of the current year liability, whichever is greater. So remember that if you do not have a certain portion of your taxes covered by January 15th, the IRS does have the opportunity to penalize you with underpayment penalties, estimate penalties, late payment penalties, not late filing penalties because you're filing on time, and interest. So you want to avoid those penalties and interest at all costs. April 15th is the individual tax return filing deadline. March 15th is the corporate filing deadline. Now, if you file an extension, it gives you an additional 6 months to file your tax return, not to pay, but to file your tax return. So that extends the corporate deadline out till September 15th and the individual deadline until October 15th. All individual liabilities should be settled, 90% of the prior year liability or 110% of the current year liability, by January 15th, the end of the fourth quarter. For the individuals who are thinking about deferring money into a 401k or any sort of deferred retirement plan, those also have deadlines. 401k contributions, for instance, need to be put into the 401k account before December 31st. Whereas normal IRA accounts, individual retirement accounts, and SEP IRA accounts, you might have until the filing deadline to fund those retirement accounts. So sit down and talk with your tax preparer to better understand the filing deadlines and what you could potentially be avoiding as far as penalties are concerned by taking care of this ahead of time. Thanks for listening today.